Hey, what's up guys, and welcome to Xbox On.
Now, if you've been watching the channel recently, you'll know there's been a bunch of new controllers announced.
So we thought we'd take a look back through Xbox One controller history and pick out our favorites, and we'd also love to hear from you how many of them you've got.
So let's take a look. So let's go back to where it all began with the original Xbox One controller. So this was actually, this particular controller, you can see it's written here, I made this, launch team 2013. So this was given to the launch team back in the day, and this actual controller belongs to Graeme. This was given to him. So this is a piece of Xbox history right here. I mean, I'm gonna put this on eBay afterwards, make a few extra pennies on the side. Thank you, Graeme, very kind of you. So as you can see, it's still, it's the iconic controller, but it's got a few differences about it. So this is the first design. The Xbox button is actually a part of the bumpers at the top here, rather than being separate from it. And the bumpers themselves are a bit longer. So even though it still looks incredible, it's maybe a little bit bulkier than the controller we know now. It's a little, the controller as it's progressed, it's got a bit sleeker along the way. So you can see that difference there. Also, it doesn't have the headphone jack, which is obviously super important now to gaming, to multiplayer gaming. So this is the design that we were given to on that initial day when it first came out. It still looks amazing though, and do let us know, are you still using the original Xbox One controller when you game? Let us know in the comments box down below.
So next up, we have the Titanfall limited edition controller, which is obviously one of the original limited edition controllers for the Xbox One. So it doesn't have the 3.5mm jack in it. It's got the original style bumpers where you can't press them the whole way along. But I really like this controller because obviously Titanfall, when it first came out, I remember playing it at Gamescom for the first time and just came out of the room like going, oh my God, I just need to keep on playing. And then obviously last year when Titanfall 2 was coming out, we did a live stream at EGX with Ryan Lastimosa, and this controller is filled with Easter eggs to do with him. Like for example, obviously if you played Titanfall 2 as well, at the start of the campaign, you come across the pilot who's died in the Titan called Lastimosa. And obviously on here it is Lastimosa Armory because Ryan Lastimosa is the weapons designer at Respawn. So all the weapons, he kind of works and designs on them. So obviously Lastimosa Armory. But what's really weird as well is you look at this number here. You could think it's just a random jumble of numbers, but it's actually the date of his wedding. So he has his wedding on an Xbox controller, which millions of people around the world have played with, which it's kind of weird and quite cool at the same time. But there's also loads of other Easter eggs as well. Like here, it's got Huard on the bottom of the controller, and that's because it's Lastimosa's, get part of Lastimosa's gamer tag, which is Brock Huard. I don't know Huard, but it is Brock Huard. But also the controller's got loads of other throws to like the Titanfall universe, obviously. I think it's one of the really cool limited edition controllers that I used for a long time, because I used to, when Titanfall first came out, I was obsessed, and it was like really exciting because it was like that kind of first game to kind of bring that advanced movement. I just think it's a really cool controller. It's obviously got loads of extra, all those additional kind of like throws to Titanfall, but I really like it.
So in June 2015, the Xbox One controller got a revamp, and this is the first special edition. Now, I know what you're thinking, Lydia, you're not holding anything, there's nothing there. Fear not, this is just the camouflage design. So this is the Covert Forces controller. As you can see, it's got that nice silver, gray, black sort of army design going. It looks pretty damn awesome. So in terms of actual changes to the revamped controller, one of the differences is that the bumper buttons at the top, they're easier to click, plus they just make a really satisfying clicking sound. Like they just, yeah, it just feels good. It feels real good. So also, this is the first controller to get the headphone jack, which is super important when you want to drown out the sound of whoever you're playing with, aka Benny. Thank you so much, headphone jack, you've saved my life. Also at the back, we can see this has a customized battery pack. So this particular one says AC Bongo. So this is Graeme's gamer tag. So evidently, we've just been going to Graeme's house and nicking all of his controllers. I'm really sorry, Graeme. Really sorry about that.
So next up, we have the Shadow Ranger controllers. I've got the Dawn Shadow and then also the brand new Volcano Shadow. This was kind of once beautifully modeled by Graeme, which is still one of my favorite gifts of all time. But then we got the Volcano Shadow, which I love because red's my favorite color. But it's a series of controllers that just look really awesome because it's kind of got this unique spin on it. And that's something that Xbox, I feel, have done really well recently. They brought different ranges of controllers for you to collect, because I am a person who just loves collecting things, whether it's controllers, whether it's consoles, playing cards, whatever it is. And this is something that was really cool with these controllers. So if you have a look at them, you can see this kind of gradient change. So it changes so if you're looking at front on or down from the bottom. So you've kind of got this fiery red metallic look on the volcano shadow, which is awesome. And then also if you look at the buttons of the controller, those are also like fiery red. And if you look at the dawn shadow, they've got the same sort of color scheme as that kind of gradient change, which I think looks really cool. You've then got like the 3.5mm jack and like those fresh bumpers, everything you'd expect from a normal Xbox One wireless controller, Bluetooth as well, so you can play it on your Windows 10 PC. I love it, one of my favorite controllers, and this one is now mine.
So with the release of Halo 5 came the release of 2 special edition controllers. We've of course got Master Chief and Locke here. So my favorite thing in terms of special edition controllers is when it mimics the character design. So let's take a little look at Locke's design here. Obviously we've got the same color palette, got metallic blue and silver, and both of these controllers, they have metallic D-pads and triggers, which is always a nice little extra touch. Also, both of the controllers have these nice extra etchings on it, which has been laser engraved. So nice little, obviously again, finishing touches that we wouldn't normally have on any of our controllers. Also with Locke, he's got the name of his squad mates down the side. So again, if you're a big fan of the game, it's got these nice little, extra little sneaky touches on it that you'll see and be like, oh, I recognize that. Oh, so it's cool. It's definitely a good fan service controller. Personally, I think I prefer the Locke controller. I think it's just got a little bit extra in terms of customization. As you can see, Master Chief doesn't quite have the same, little details like Locke does. And I also think I just prefer the color palette a little bit more. Do let us know in the comments box, if you had to pick one of these controllers, who would you go with, Master Chief or Locke? Let us know.
Next up, we have the Tech range of controllers, which is another series of controllers very much like the Shadow range, and we have the Recon Tech and then also the brand new Patrol Tech right here. The really cool things with these controllers actually is obviously this laser etched design or gold mesh on the front of the controller, which is obviously unique to the series. So when you're holding it in the controller, you can kind of feel the texture, which is really nice rather than that kind of perfectly smooth faceplate. And also on the designer controller, you get 3 symbols in the middle, which is different across both the Recon and the Patrol Tech, which is nice. But one thing to point out is the different grip on the back. You've got the diamond grip on the back, which is really, really helpful if you're playing a really long gaming session, you're kind of blitzing through a game, whether you're playing like Overwatch for 4 or 5 hours, whether you're just trying to complete a game in one go. This really, really helps. I really like it as well. The designs are also really cool, and on the Patrol Tech, you've obviously got that silver mesh and gold mesh on the Recon. But yeah, these are 2 more controllers that I'm just kind of going to pinch for my collection because they're things to collect, damn it.
So much like Halo 5 with its 2 special edition controllers based on the characters, Gears of War 4 also got the same treatment. So we've got the JD Phoenix controller, which is based on JD's armor. So it uses the laser etching to mimic his armor, which is pretty cool. But my personal favorite of the 2, we've got the Crimson Omen controller. Now the reason I like this one so much is because the laser etching in it is freaking awesome. So basically, as you can see, it's like claw marks down the side, as if you've been attacked by the swarm themselves. And it kind of looks like you've shielded yourself with the controller. Personally, I wouldn't recommend using this to save yourself. Get a gun next time. Maybe don't use a controller to save your life. Just a tip of the day for you there. Also, we've got a nice metallic D-pad, which is also always a nice touch. And this controller came out after the release of the Xbox One S. So we've got the sleek design that we know and love. We've got the Xbox button being a part of the overall face of the controller rather than being blended in with the bumpers at the top. So nice and sleek design there. So yeah, we've got the Gears of War 4 controllers. Let us know in the comments down below which one your favorite is.
Next up, we have the controller that I use on a day-to-day basis, whether that's playing games at home or taking it to the office to kind of do an episode of World's Hardest Achievements. But if we open up the hard case as well, which is really nice because it helps me carry it around in my bag, in the case as well, straight away, you've got loads of different accessories. So you've kind of got different thumbsticks if you want to use a dome thumbstick or a tall thumbstick, different D-pads, obviously paddles for the back of the Elite controller as well. Really helpful to carry around the Elite controller with, which I absolutely love. The first thing that if you pick one of these up, you'll notice it's a little bit heavier than normal controllers because it's made out of metal. It's definitely a premium product, which I absolutely love. Also, you've got interchangeable like thumbsticks, D-pads, so you can kind of use the ones that you want to use. So if you don't want to use this D-pad, for example, you can just get rid of it, kind of take out the case, right, take in the other one, and slot it in like that. So you can kind of change the controller how you feel to have. Also, you can have different settings. So on the Xbox console, you've got an Elite Controller app, which you can then kind of fiddle with, kind of change the, like kind of build two different kind of formats for you to use. So if you have a different kind of sensitivity for a racing game, you can have that on option 2, and then obviously number 1 could be like your first-person shooter games like Halo, Call of Duty, Titanfall. So the controller is just kind of flips to how you want it from games to play. Obviously, you've got all the normal bumpers, triggers, which are nice and metallic, which are beautiful. Biggest things to notice though, right, first thing are the trigger locks. So if you're playing like a racing game and you want the full trigger motion, you can use that and just kind of turn them off. But if you're playing a first-person shooter game and want it so you can kind of like shoot quicker or kind of those small little advantages so you don't have to do that big motion, you can kind of just flick those on. Honestly, Call of Duty, when I was competing, I could not play without trigger locks. It helps you so much. But one of the biggest things is actually the paddles on the back. So obviously you can put paddles on, you can have it however you want. I personally play with one paddle on the back as my jump button so that I can always kind of jump shoot and everything and use those paddles. Makes a big difference, and also once again you can adjust them how you want them to be through the app on your Xbox One. You've then got the grip as well, which is really cool for long gaming sessions. Personally, I love this controller. As I said, it's the one that I use on a day-to-day basis. I couldn't really imagine using another controller this much because it's just awesome. But thankfully, I don't have to steal this one because it's mine. So yeah, it's not too bad.
So you might be wondering what could possibly knock the Elite controller off of the top spot. Well, obviously it's got to be a controller that you design yourself. So with Xbox Design Lab, you can change anything you see fit in this controller. In terms of color and performance, it's totally up to you. So this controller here, this one is mine. I got this from E3 2017. As you can see, it says just here at the front, made at E3 2017, number 78 of 1,000. So this is a prized possession here, and one controller that Benny will not be getting his grubby little thievesy mitts on, all right? Stay away, Benny. So in terms of what you actually see on this controller and what you can change on your controller, pretty much everything. You can change the color of the thumbsticks, the D-pad, the buttons, the menu buttons, the bumpers, the triggers, the backplate. Literally, you could have everything a different color. You could have it all one uniform color. You could have just like a two-tone thing going on. You can basically do whatever you want. It's really up to you. And also in terms of the colors on offer, there's a really wide selection as well as metallic as well. So as you can see, I've got a metallic D-pad and I've got metallic triggers, and it's a really nice sort of bronzy gold color. So there's some sort of unique colors as well. They're not just sort of standard what you might expect. There's more than just a basic offering. Also in terms of performance, you can get rubberized grip at the back, which is always useful for when you're gaming for a while. And most importantly, I think you can actually get your very own message etched at the bottom, which I think is just such a cool, nice little touch. It really makes it yours. So you could have your gamer tag or your name or whatever you want right there at the bottom, so everyone knows it's your controller and you made it. So why not jump onto the Xbox Design Lab website and just have a little mess around, see what you come up with. You never know, a controller you make might be the top of our list next time.
So there we have it, just some of our favourite Xbox One controllers in history. I've definitely added some more to my collection. Do make sure to let us know which ones you've got in the comments below, and subscribe for more content in the future. And you never know, you may win some of these if I get them home.
You seem to be struggling a little bit, Betty. I think you should give some to me.
Go away.
Make sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, and we will see you next time. Bye!
Bye. Go away. Not the recontact!